Hey guys, we are in North Carolina beaches, Cape Lookout, where I am shell hunting for my beach coasters that I will be making. I like to come all the way up here to kind of the bank side, and you can find all kinds of beautiful shells. I need really small shells for my coasters, and this is where I find all of the most beautiful shells that are the perfect size for my coasters. I like to use some of the shells for other projects that I have, and sometimes I get little visitors. Sometimes I get lucky and find other cool things. Hello, welcome back from the beach. So I have got some really great shells. I am going to take just a few moments, pick out the ones that I want for my coasters, then we're going to make our beach coasters. I do a lot of commission work, so I'm going to be making 3 sets at the same time, and I'm just using the regular standard round coaster sets with the stands, or with the holders, sorry, and we're gonna get started in just a second. So I'm gonna pick out my shells and set everything out. I've cleaned my coasters. I do have a hard time getting little tiny specks in there, so I just use some tape and clean that out, make sure they're nice and clear, and then we're going to get started. I have my shells picked out, I have my resin mixed, and I am using the amazing Claricast resin today. For my sand, I am just using the sand that you can get at a craft store instead of real sand, because I don't want to risk any kind of bacteria. And for the various different colors of the ocean, I'm going to be using different mica powders from Let's Resin. So what I'm going to do now, sorry, that's my bird in the background. He's like, come get me, Mom. I'm just going to pour my sand in a cup here. Of course, when you're making just your coasters, you don't need this much, but because I'm making 3 sets, I have quite a bit that I need. And I actually like to add a little bit of gold, so I use this Glitterific from Folk Art. It is an acrylic paint, and I'm going to put just a little bit in here, and I will link what I'm using below for you guys if you're interested. So I just put a little bit of this. A little goes a long way, especially when you're using resin. So that's probably a little too much. So just put a little bit in your cup. And then I am going to take my resin, and I have quite a bit, you guys, because of me using 3 sets here. And you just want enough just for the mix. Look at me making a mess. Just to thicken your sand. So you want it kind of the consistency of, I would say, like oatmeal. So you're just going to mix this here. I'll show you. You don't want it runny. You want it pretty thick. You're just gonna mix this real good. I'm gonna mix this and then I will show you. So I have mixed this, and this is the consistency that you want. It's really thick. It is not runny. And then I am just going to place this on my coasters, and I'm also going to put it on the top of my holders. sand is in, so now I'm going to start with the darkest part of the ocean. I actually like to use the darkest blue that I have, and right now the one that I have is called Sapphire, or actually let's use the Azure. Is that how you say that? It's an acrylic paint. So when you use acrylic paint, you only need a small amount, and I'm just gonna do a little dab will do ya. About that much, that little dab there. And then I'm gonna fill this up with my resin. And it's just sitting over here doing its thing. Of course, if you are using if you are doing just your 4 coasters, you do not need this much. Probably 1/4 of the paint that I just used, and even less resin here. And you want to mix this up really, really good. I probably could have even used less of that paint that I used there. Whenever you use acrylic paint, you only want 6% of paint to resin. But look at that beautiful dark, dark blue. That's what we're going for. And we're going to put this on the outermost part of your coaster for the ocean. Of course, I'm getting it everywhere. I don't know why I am being so messy today. So I'm just gonna do just a very small round. Let me grab my stick because I can't get as close to my coasters as I want to be. I only want a little bit. So I'm probably gonna do 2 or 3 blues in my ocean to really get that ocean effect. So that's the blue that we're going for. I'm gonna do these other ones, and then also I like to put the blue in the bottom of my coaster holder to give it that nice ocean look. So I'm just going around the edge there. So I'm going to finish these out and I will be right back. For my next color, I'm going to use Sky Blue. This is a mica powder, and I'm just going to use 1 scoop. I am actually using the same cup because since we're using blues, I'm just going to use the same cup. Add my resin. Don't need as much as I had last time. So about 3/4 cup in there. Mix that powder really well so you break all those little powder capsules. Sometimes the powder can stick together, and you want to make sure you break that down really good. So just mix really, really well. Look at that beautiful blue. One of the things that I like about mica powder is that it has this beautiful shimmer shade to it. So it gives your ocean a beautiful shimmer, whereas acrylic paint doesn't have that shimmer to it unless you get like a metallic paint. All right, well, I need to keep this. So we're just gonna come in here, and right underneath that darker blue, we're gonna add this lighter blue. There is no right or wrong way of doing this. It doesn't matter how much or how less you add. So we're going to do that, and then we're also going to add a little bit to the holder as well on the inside. Again, kind of adding to the ocean. And I am going to finish out these others and be right back. For my final shade, I do like to mix a couple of colors. So I'm going to take the sky blue, probably a half of a spoon here. Oh no, what I did there. And then I like this bluish green here. Again, like a half of a spoon. And these little spoons that I'm using, they come with my mica powders when I ordered them. And I'll also link these powders below. And I like the silvery white. So the reason why I mix these, and I do a little more of this one, I mix these because it gives it this beautiful bluish green ocean look. So I'm going to mix these together, and again a little less than last time. I may have way too much resin mixed over here. I have a lot still left in my container. So I'm going to mix this, and you'll see what I mean. Gives it this beautiful ocean bluish green color. So pretty, look at that. Mix that nice and well. Then we're just going to come back in here and finish these off. So I just focus on these bald spots. Not to cover up any of that sand. I'm going to finish these out, and then we're going to add our shells. Before I add my shells, I have lots of resin here. As it sits, the little bubbles pop. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add this resin to my holders here, fill these up before it starts to tack up. The resin that I'm using does tend to tack up pretty quick, so I'm just going to go ahead and add these. If you've never used these holders before, the holders are upside down in the mold. So just remember that when you're using these. So what you see at the top will be your bottom, and what's on the bottom will be your top. That's why I put the sand at the top, which is my bottom. I know it sounds kind of weird, but all the molds that you use when dealing with resin will be different. So the coasters that we're using, what you see at the top will be your top. So everything is just a little different. I do have this one mold that is shaped very kind of oddly here. So I'm just going to make sure these are covered very well so that it sits the way and cures the way that it should. So this resin is a 1-to-1 ratio, meaning you have, you use the same amount of B as you do A, and you have about 30 to 40 minutes work time. So now I'm just going to add my beautiful shells, and then I'm going to show you my wave recipe. So I think when you're dealing with beach coasters, the hardest thing to accomplish is your waves, and I'm still working really hard to get those right. So I'll just come in here and press down on your shells, because you do want your shells to be below the top of your coaster, because what I'm going to do is let these cure and set until it tacks up or completely cures, and then I'm going to come back on top with a clear coat so that this will give it more of a three-dimensional look. So I'm just gonna add my shells, and then I am going to come back and show you how we do the waves. All right, shells are in. So let's make my wave formula. So what I use is white mica powder, and we're gonna use a full spoonful of this. This will make it the dark white color. Then I am going to use white alcohol ink, and I'm gonna use about, this one's almost empty, somewhere between, oh, this one's almost empty, you guys gotta get another one, somewhere between 10 to 20 drops of that. And what that does is it gives it that nice wave effect. And then my secret formula for the sails, you know how like your waves has those little bubbles in it, is I'll use 1 to 2 drops of treadmill belt lubricant. And I'm gonna do, you gotta be careful with this, 1, 2 drops of that. And then we're gonna add our resin to this. We're gonna mix this up. I was off camera on that, you guys, I'm sorry. Mix this up really good. And my resin has already started to thicken, so you can see how thick my resin is. Nice and thick and a pretty white, which is what you're looking for. We're just using our stick. We're just going to come in here and right where the water hits the sand, we're going to add our waves. Already see where I've laid it, it kind of starts to spread out, it does its thing. If it drops, it's fine, it just adds to the effect. See, I'm not being precise here. I don't mind the drops. I actually prefer the little drops. And come back and just add a little more right on top. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a heat gun and blow out the waves into the ocean. From a distance. Well, I'm going to get a little closer. I'm going to slowly blow the wave out. there you have it. They are ready. They are going to set to the side. I'm going to make sure I cover them so dust and particles don't fall into them. I will wait for them to cure and set until they're nice and tacky or completely cure, and then I'm going to come on top of them with a clear coat. If you have alcohol, you can put it in a spray bottle and spray on top to get rid of any little bubbles. And I will see you guys back when they're ready to demold. It has been 24 hours. I came in and I added the clear coat on top. So we are going to unmold. This is my favorite part. And just look how gorgeous these turned out. I absolutely love them. And oh, guys, you have to be careful with the hair. Look at these, so gorgeous. So let's pull out the holder. This is usually the hardest one to come out. Look at the waves on that. Isn't that pretty? Especially on the opening here. And that is your holder there. And then these just sit right inside. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you decide to make your beach coasters, let me know. I would love to see your results.